Upgrades. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today we are bringing you the latest film produced by Issa Rae, and this one is called One of Them Days. And here's a quick synopsis. When her boyfriend takes her rent money, Alyssa and Dreux must race against the clock to avoid eviction and keep their friendship intact. This one is directed by Lamont. It stars Keke Palmer and SZA. Now, the first thing you can say about One of Them Days is if you are a fan or even remember the 90s type of black comedies that we got, whether it be the Fridays, which is this one's going to be compared to the most, but also in the vein of like Booty Call and those also type of black comedies where it was a lot of hijinks in it and camaraderie through friendship that happened on the film. This is what you get with One of Them Days. It's as earnest and as silly a film as you can possibly get, but because it's so honest into itself and because it delivers exactly what you kind of expected, it becomes a surprisingly good movie. As we're introduced to Dreux, who is played by Keke Palmer, we're introduced to this go-getter who just wants to be better, wants to do everything better. We're introduced to her at her job as a waitress, and we see just how ingrained she is in her job and how ingrained she is into the community. And then we meet her friend Alyssa, who is aloof. Just a friend who kind of flies by the seat of their pants. Very reminiscent, and I know this is a weird character comparison to some people, but if you ever remember the show Living Single, and you remember Sinclair, played by I think it's Kim Coles off of Living Single. Alyssa's character, played by SZA here, is very reminiscent of that character to me. It's the aloofness. It's the always looking at the positive no matter what's going on here. And then we get as they're just struggling to survive in this community, and Alyssa makes a mistake of giving their rent money to her boyfriend, who happens to magically move in with them, even though Dreux does not like that at all. And he does something stupid with it. At that point, the plot moves exactly as you would expect it to move. It's hijinks galore, as is a race against time to find him to get running back, and just to not get evicted. Like, the premise is so simple. And what separates this film from anything else you've seen recently is the relationship between Keke and SZA in this film. Like, that relationship like drives this film. It's as silly as humanly possible. Some of the hijinks, they don't make sense really in a way. It's characters in here. It's one named Bernice that I could have done without being in the movie at all. But I do understand the hijinks that character brings to the rest of the cast. But you're here because of their relationship. And you believe their friendship throughout this entire film, through the ups and downs that they go through of attempting to get this rent money back. You thoroughly believe that these two are close friends, and they're just doing whatever they have to do to survive. Now, there are some subplots here in this film. As I brought up the character of Bernice, who's the neighborhood bully. Very reminiscent of Baby D off of Next Friday. That type of character. Then you have a different subplot of Dreux trying to find a new job. It's not really developed enough for that to even really matter. And then you get the other half-baked one, which is the white woman moving into an all-black neighborhood, which could lead to gentrification. That plot is not really nearly as explained as it needed to be to make it interesting. So you just here for Dreux and Alyssa and the hijinks that they go through as they're attempting to get rent money. That's it. And you hear that Keke Palmer delivers a great comedic performance in this film. Like, she's captivating when she wants to be on screen because she understands that I need to be funny this minute. I need to be serious this minute. I need to be dramatic this minute. I need to be heartfelt this minute. It's all the emotions in one. And then with SZA, what you're getting is someone who just feels empathetic throughout the whole film. Like, no matter what, no matter how many mistakes Alyssa makes in this movie, you always feel that she's doing the right thing. Like she always has a just cause with herself. It's weird to have that feeling from a character. That's why I brought up Sinclair off of Living Single, because you always felt that way with Sinclair, is that she was always doing what she perceived to be the right thing, so you could never really blame her for some of the stuff that she did that didn't go right. That's how it is here with Alyssa. Like, you can't blame her for things that don't go right. As it pertains to direction here, Lawrence Lamont did a really good job of setting us up to feel like a 90s type of comedy. And I think those feelings are needed now because comedy has become a dying genre. The black comedy is almost completely gone. And besides possibly the blackening from a couple of years ago, like, this is the first time I've seen since the blackening a black comedy that felt like something nostalgic, that felt like something fresh, because it brought ideas from the past to the present. So he does an amazing job at just figuring that out and understanding that you have to let the hijinks go in this type of film. This is not a type of film where someone's going to win Oscars in. This is not the type of film that, I hate to say it this way, a smart comedy that people would be looking for. Like, no, this is not a deep, dark comedy. This is really straightforward. At times, physical, comedic performance by both SZA and Keke Palmer. And you have to have a director who fully understands that's what the audience needs to see here. And because he gives you that, and he doesn't hold back on letting them and the story move as it must. Again, it's a bunch of supporting characters in here. Really good actors here with the supporting characters in here. Very surprising moments at a lot of times in this film. But even when they get to the utmost silly portions of the movie, because of the way the film is grounded in, this may not be a full reality, but it's close enough to reality for you to understand these hijinks, because these are actual hijinks that people go through every day also. So while it seems outlandish, it's still grounded in a place where you could be like, I can see that happening to somebody. Like, it's a multitude of scenes here. I mean, in the trailer they show one when it says it's climbing on a rope to get some Jordans off of a rope line. If you're from certain neighborhoods, you kind of normally know what it means when shoes are hanging from an electric line. That's kind of a sign for something else. But again, it's the hijinks of, we need money and these shoes are up here, let's get them. Like, it's everything you would think humanly possible that people would go through to get money that they do in this film. And some of it, again, seems outlandish, but in all honesty, we understand just how desperate people can be. And it takes a director with understanding to know, go with the silly. As long as it's realistic in the depiction of what's happening, go with the silly. And he does a great job at doing that. So, One of Them Days, which drops this Friday, out of a possible 10, I'm going to give One of Them Days an 8 out of 10. This is a solid black comedy. And you kind of miss those because we don't get them that often. Again, we get the smarter ones at times, the American fictions and stuff like that. But I think with the blackening, Dwayne, who actually did the blackening, is also in this movie too. With the blackening, you kind of hoped that we would get the rebirth of the silly, entertaining black comedy. And we didn't get anything following that. It went right back to the smart comedies, which is fine, but it doesn't feel as nostalgic as it needs to feel. But here with One of Them Days, it just gives you that feel like you're back in the 90s and you're watching the Boomerangs, you're watching the Three Strikes, for people who remember Three Strikes, the Money Talks, the Blue Streaks, the stuff like that, that type of mode of comedy where it was just silly and fun. Like, while it was vulgar language, of course, it's gonna be that in these films. But everything just seems so innocent. Like, even with the language, I think you could take any kid to see this film. I mean, I saw some of those black comedies when I was young. So yes, you can take any kid to see these type of films. And that's the feeling if they didn't plan on interjecting that feeling, they are surprising me, because that's exactly the type of feel you get from One of Them Days. So check it out. Comes out this Friday. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.